The first week of the HFL postseason has begun. It is the first round of the playoffs officially. Let's talk about what happened last week in our playoffs round 1 HFL recap. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Jimmy Foosball. I just want to wish you guys a happy holiday from the HFL media team and myself personally. But without further ado, let's get into our first round of the playoffs recap. So we're kind of going to speed run consolation a little bit. There is some stuff to talk about though. It's really the battle of last place when it comes to consolation. So our first matchup is, we're going to go over consolation first, and then we're going to go over the playoffs second. Our first consolation matchup is between Joe and Mike. Joe, the 8th seed, Mike, the 7th seed. Joe did not set his lineup this week. He started the injured Olave. And Debo's a beast. Nothing new there. For Mike, wow, what a convenient time to put up 150 points. Great performance from his squad, but guess what? It doesn't fucking matter. Alright. Where was this performance the last 3 weeks? Couldn't get a single dub? Yeah, we'll just ponder on that for a second. And last but not least, in this matchup, James Cook cooks. He puts up a great performance in a game that ultimately, let's be real, doesn't really matter. Our second consolation matchup is between Zach and Fink. Zach coming in as the 10th seed, Fink is the 9th seed. For Zach, this is his first consolation appearance in 8 years. Wow. He has a chance to be last place, which would be an even crazier stat considering he is our rank 1 in the official HFL power rankings as of 3 years ago, I think. New power rankings coming out soon in a year. In this performance, Bijan is back to his usual self, putting up a solid negative 0.1 points. This is a first round pick we're talking about. And for Fink, he is the 9th seed. Brock Purdy dazzles with a 4 touchdown performance, 25.68 points. Congratulations on the dub, Fink. But guess what? It doesn't matter, really. I mean, it kind of does, but it really doesn't. And finally, our third and final consolation matchup is between Cleary and David. This is a potential last place match that we might see in the future. Cleary coming in as the 12th seed, David coming in as the 11th seed. For Cleary, Laporta drops 3 touchdowns. Nice. Also, is it Tyjae Spears' season? The Titans are officially knocked out of the playoffs. Are they going to start playing him more than Derrick Henry? I don't know, but if they do, that could really work out in Cleary's favor. For David, we're talking about back-to-back last place potential here. He puts up an abysmal 61.42 point total. The Chargers defense gives him negative 4 points as they get absolutely disrespected by the Las Vegas Raiders. Matt Gay is his second highest scorer with 11 points. And unfortunately, Michael Pittman Jr. leaves the game early with injury, so this could affect him in future consolation matchups. So we're going to see how that turns out for him. Congratulations on the dub, Cleary. But that is our last consolation matchup to go over. So now let's discuss the real juicy stuff. We're talking about our playoff matchups. The first playoff matchup we're going to go over is a bye week. It's Frank coming in at the number 1 seed. He gets a bye week. This is good timing for his well-deserved bye week because he has significant injuries this week. We're talking about Tyreek Hill, the number 1 fantasy wide receiver. He sits out with an ankle injury. Keenan Allen, the number 3 wide receiver, also sits out this week, and Brian Robinson Jr. also out. His team still has a pretty good performance while chilling in Cancun. They put up 125.42 points, and all those people weren't even playing, so that's pretty impressive. Next week, a little spoiler alert here, Frank will be playing the Autobot, Decepticon, Mr. Roboto, Gabe Hairline Avengers VV in the second round of the playoffs. We will see if Frank can keep the ball rolling as he has done the whole regular season. The second team we're going to go over in the playoffs is JP versus the bye week. Congratulations. He secured the second bye week. For JP, Kincaid drops a donut. He's playing injured. He got no catches on 2 targets. We'll see if this affects his lineup moving forward into next week. His team does look good though. Jared Goff with 5 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb is the wide receiver number 2 in fantasy. Kyron Williams continues to look like the waiver wire pickup of the year with 23 points. Even with 2 fumbles, he still puts up 23 points. For some negatives that we saw this week, luckily for him, it doesn't matter, but we got McManus putting up negative 1 point. And the biggest question mark that I talked about earlier when discussing Cleary's team is Derrick Henry. Is his season over? Do they involve Tyjae Spears more now that they're eliminated from the playoffs? Does Henry become the second RB, no longer the workhorse that he usually is? We're going to see how that affects JP. Congratulations on securing the bye week, and we will see you in the second round of the playoffs, John P. And now our third playoff matchup to go through is our first real matchup. We have Gabe, the Autobot, versus Boston, the Commish. Gabe coming in as the 5th seed, Boston as the 4th seed. For Gabe, does he even know what's going on in the HFL right now? Does he know I do these recaps? Does he know there's post-game interviews where we discuss Gabe in it? Does he read the group message? They're all questions with no answers. I'm just speaking out into the abyss right now, apparently. On his squad, Patrick Mahomes with 2 touchdowns, 16.7 points. But, I mean, the main performer here is CMC with the nuclear week-winning 40.2 points performance. Absolutely carries the squad and ultimately takes Boston out of the championship run that he was looking for. Some other notables for Gabe, not as crazy of performances. DK with 10.3 points, Chuba with 11.3 points, and James Conner with 16.4 points. For Boston, we got, I guess I have to say it one more time, as it will probably be the last time I do this. We have Dak. Okay, here we go. Prescott struggling, 6.06 points, 134 yards, and an interception. In the biggest game for Boston's season, very unfortunate. But Mostert goes surfing in the end zone twice, dropping 17.3 points. JJ returns, plays the whole game, 11.9 points. Waddle has a huge game in Tyreek Hill's absence, 8 receptions, 142 yards, and a touchdown for 25.2 points. But the Dallas defense gets stomped out by the Bills. They put up 0 points, and Zay Flowers only gets 1 reception for 7 yards. And Boston, in his hopes for championship gold, falls short to Gabe. Unfortunately, one of our hopefuls to have a new champion is eliminated. We look forward to seeing Gabe versus Frank next week. Who's going to win that one? The Autobot or Frank? Probably a hard decision, but my non-biased journalism here is leaning towards Frank. Non-biasedly, of course. And our last matchup that we will discuss for the round 1 of the playoffs, HFL recap, is a playoff matchup between JD and Steven Lombardi. JD infamously has 0 playoff dubs, but plenty of playoff appearances, but no dubs. And unfortunately, the streak continues for another year. JD is our 6th seed, Lombardi coming in as the 3rd seed. For JD, Lamar Jackson puts up 18.54 points. But unfortunately, he gets hit with the injury bug. Zach Moss and first-round pick Jamar Chase both injured this week. They do not finish their games. Very unlucky for JD. Rashad White puts up 20.9 points. Alexander Madison did not play. He was injured. So JD spent $18 of fab on Ty Chandler. He did not start him. Ultimately, it does not matter, though. His performance still would not have secured him the dub. The 0 playoff win curse continues for JD, but hey, at least he made the playoffs, right? So for Lombardi, is he the QB whisperer in the HFL? Is John P on? Does he have alerts on his phone for me saying this, that Lombardi might be the new QB whisperer in the HFL? He starts, well, at the beginning of the season, we have AR-15. He moves on to CJ Stroud, and now Baker Mayfield. I mean, this guy can't miss. I don't know how he does it. Baker with 4 touchdowns and a 30.04 point performance. It's incredible. I don't know how he picks his QBs, but maybe I need to talk to that guy, because Justin Herbert, anyway. Njoku puts up 22.4 points, 10 receptions, 104 yards, and a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, but unfortunately, the one negative for Lombardi's team is that Keaton Mitchell suffers a knee injury and he is out for the remainder of the season. We will see how Lombardi adjusts moving forward, as Lombardi and JP will be playing each other in the second round of the playoffs next week. The Best Friends Forever Bowl yet again. It's going to be a matchup to look forward to. Lombardi is our only hope for new championship gold. Everybody else has one ring. My non-biased journalism coming through again. I mean, you guys should know who I'm cheering for in this one. I want a new champion. Jimmy Foosball is picking Steven Lombardi to win this year's HFL championship belt. Let's hope he does it, folks, because goddamn, I do not want a two-time champ. So that is just about going to wrap up our HFL playoffs round 1 recap here. Next week we have Frank versus Gabe and Barty versus JP to look forward to in our championship race. I will keep you guys posted with that one. The consolation race is probably going to get a lot less coverage, except for the last place matchups. We really want to focus on those to see what ends up happening there. I just want to say thank you guys for watching another week of the HFL recap. Playoffs edition. The HFL media team wants to wish you a happy holidays. And I am your host of the HFL recap, Jimmy Foosball, with another one in the books. Thank you for watching. I will catch you guys next week. Peace. Our second consolation matchup is going to be our second consolation matchup. Our second